Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel.
We are, as always, your hosts Arne and Carlos, and here we are back in Norway, and it's 4th of Advent right now, and we are here to give you a little sum up of what we've been doing this year.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while.
And we will try to make some balls while we talk.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
So
Arne, how are you feeling?
I got a cold the last week in America. I woke up one morning and I had a cold, so I will try not to cough too much. But if I look really bad right now, it's because I have a cold.
Okay, Arne's got a cold and he's been coughing quite a lot, but you're on your way to be better now.
I'm getting there, but I'm not doing all the things I wanted to do, digging snow and go skiing.
I've been shoveling all the snow since we got back. I have forbidden Arne to go out and do anything physical until he's well. So I've been doing all the snow shoveling, and I had to because I felt that I wasn't in all good shape when we got back from the US and Canada due to 78 days of traveling and eating restaurant food. But now we're back.
We're back.
And we're ready to do this.
Yeah, and while you're shoveling snow, I can sit in my messy room and knit something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation, yes.
So anyway, we've been in America for 78 days, and we've been getting a couple of questions, like the frequently asked questions that we've been getting while we've been on tour in North America. There's been two, and I thought it could be a good idea to answer those two questions in front of the camera so that we can share it with everybody, not only the thousands of people we met on our tour, but also all the many, many, many thousands of people that follow our YouTube channel. So Arne, frequently asked questions. Question number 2. Will there be YouTube videos while you are touring North America? Will we be seeing new things from you every Sunday while you're here?
Yes.
That was
the answer is yes, because we made a lot of videos earlier, because we were prepared, because we knew we were traveling.
Yep.
So we had to make some videos before.
And the Christmas videos that you've seen, 1st of Advent, 2nd of Advent, and 3rd of Advent, we actually filmed those before we cleared away Christmas in January. So we had a long Christmas celebration in 2018 that went over into January when we prepared the cooking episodes and the first podcast with the mitten. And it was planned, and we knew we were going to be back here on December 10th, and we knew that we could do the podcast as the last thing we do this year, 2019. So when we finish this podcast, we are officially on Christmas holidays, which we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
So that answers the question. We plan far in advance, and we could not publish a new video every Sunday continuously if we would record them, a week before. We need to have a lot of videos prepared in advance in case something happens. I mean, we schedule our weekends with our team, with Eric, Anna, and PJ. They come up for a weekend. We usually do the live stream on the Saturday, but we also record episodes, start on Friday afternoon, and then all of Saturday and Sunday. And usually we'll do, about 15, 16 episodes in a weekend, which then are edited by Eric. And I think now we've got probably enough episodes to last us until the end of February. So we are pretty much on track, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that was question number 2 of the frequently asked questions. And now
the most asked
question while we have been on tour. Can you guess what that question is?
Where is Freya? And then we do, what? It's like, Freya?
Where did we put her?
She's always in good hands.
The most asked question throughout our entire tour, which we had to answer every single day, was, who takes care of Freya when you are away? And that only proves my theory that, as a matter of fact, Freya is the breakout star of the YouTube channel.
But it's always fun to do that scream. I'm shocked
it's like you forgot where's Freya.
What happened to Freya? And then people are actually quite shocked, because some people think.
But I'm sure curious minds want to know where Freya has been all the time. Freya has been with our sister-in-law's mother And our sister-in-law's mother lives in a house which is two houses down from the farm where Arne's brother lives. So Freya has been with family. She's been going out, enjoying time with kids, soccer games. Yep. She went to the groomers.
And she has a new frenemy.
She has a frenemy, a cat.
A cat.
They love, teasing each other all the time. And we went to pick up Freya last week. And it was quite incredible because we picked her up and there was no moping. She wasn't depressed or anything after we took her out of her routine. She came home and she went right back into her routine.
Yeah, and I think the cat was more depressed because the cat didn't have anyone to chase or play with when Freya left.
And now, as you can sense, it's very quiet here. Freya's not here right now. She's out having a nice power walk. She will be away throughout the entire podcast. We had some complaints of our video. We read the comments. There were some complaints of Freya barking all the time. But you know what? When there's moose in the garden, there's moose in the garden. There's nothing we can do. And our moose, Arne, they are pretty elusive, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Santa Claus, you know. You hear them. Freya hears them. We don't actually hear them. But no, Freya hears them, and
we see them, but we can't hear them.
She tells us, there's a moose, and then when we look out the window, we don't see them. So they're very, very elusive, these moose.
Yeah.
But if we can show you a photograph of the moose sometime, we will. But up until now, we've only think there are moose out there because that's what Freya is barking at, probably. So Arne, shall we start summing up this year?
Yeah, so let's see what happened this year in our business.
So business and our life in general, there's a lot of things going on. Oh yeah, one of the biggest things that happened this year is absolutely the Christmas Ball book.
Yeah.
It got an upgrade.
We have 9 years.
Yes.
We celebrate 9 years.
Originally, we didn't want to be on the cover of the Christmas Ball book that was published in 2010. The photographs were taken in 2009. And we did not want to be on the cover of the book, but the publisher insisted. They won. And we ended up being photographed for the cover. And then this year, our American publishers said, we've run out of stock. We need to reprint. Wouldn't it be a fun idea to do a new cover? And they forced us to pose for a new cover. So there's a before and there's an after, which I think we're going to be showing right now. So now you can see what we look like in 2009 and what we look like right now. For Arne and me, it was a big shock. We were like, oh my God, have we aged this much? For most people, Arne, they see it and there's this question that comes up. So that's also a frequently asked question, or more of a comment actually, like a comment in disbelief.
Well, is that like, what do? You have more hair.
Yes, we have more hair now than we had 10 years ago.
That is funny.
What is our secret? That's what people want to know. And yeah, I guess we're just lucky. We have good genes.
We do look older, but we have more hair.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
It's whiter, but it's more of it.
Oh yeah, much more. It's quite funny to see the two pictures, back to back. And it's been delightful to have this book published again with a new cover. Christmas comes every year, and we are so pleased to know that new people that don't know us have been discovering the book every year.
Kim from the publisher in Vermont said that they're already making a reprint.
Oh yeah, it's been reprinted already.
So it's still popular.
So it's still very popular. So thank you to everybody that has been supporting us. By getting this book and we love it that people enjoyed the knitting the Christmas balls, and we love seeing the posts that everybody posts on Instagram and on Facebook. Please never stop posting about our balls. We really love seeing those images, and we love the creativity that people have.
The Christmas balls.
What are you looking at?
Christmas balls.
Oh, Arne, take your mind out of the gutter. I mean, what's wrong with you?
I saw you were smiling when you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so keep on posting. We really love seeing all those images. And now let's get into the year. We're going to do it month by month. I am a Virgo and I like things to be well organized, and it's also easier for us to remember what we did on a monthly basis. So starting January, we went to Pitti Filati in Florence. Now, Pitti Filati is a big trade show. It's not for people to go and buy crafts items. It's a trade show for fibers, especially yarn, for knitting. And it is actually for everybody, I mean for professionals, but it's for both the yarn industry, the apparel industry, so you know, companies that do knitting, ready-to-wear knitwear, as we did in the past, and also for crafts. This is where companies like Rowan go to look at new yarns, look at new developments, and this is where the companies that manufacture the yarns can show all the newest stuff.
New product.
So it's really, really cool show. It's a trade show for professionals, and we've been there a couple of times. We don't go every year, but the last 3 seasons we've been to Piteå.
Yeah, and it's a nice place to go. But last summer it was so warm, so it was almost terrible to be in the trade show.
Yeah, but we're in January right now.
No, that was in January. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm sick.
So yeah, it's okay.
I had sea visions and
Yeah,
stuff.
no. But I like the order.
Too much medication.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
everything structured.
So we've been in Florence 2 times.
2 times, yes. And I like everything to be nice and structured. And Arne likes, you know, he goes a little back and forth from one thing to another. He has a very creative mind, probably more creative than mine, although mine is pretty creative too.
But was it at that time we got these?
Yeah, we got these sweaters in Piteå.
Because that's the most interesting thing with Piteå is that I have a flea market and I end up in the flea market all the time.
Well,
that's not what I actually should do.
A flea market is, to put it a little bit, you know.
It is kind of a flea market.
It's a trade show and it has a marketplace where vintage stores from all over Italy set up and sell vintage.
And that's where I like to be.
Yeah, but vintage and flea market is not the same. So this is higher end vintage. There was I saw a lot of Chanel there, a lot of stuff like that. Yves Saint Laurent.
Okay, but
Chanel.
this is not Chanel.
No. And then they have this really nice place where they sell vintage sweaters, and both of these are from Norway.
Yeah.
And we got them in Piteå, and we've talked about them in our latest archive podcast that we do. Out of the archives video, we talked about these sweaters.
And they're from an old Norwegian brand, which doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we love them. They're nice
and
snug. And with the temperature in here, we might be taking them off a little bit later.
You never know.
Yeah. Now, Arne, a lot of people ask us also, you know, where is the yarn? Where are the yarn trends going? What are you seeing that, you know, we don't see? What are you as designers, as professionals, what do you see? Where do you see the trends going? With
and then they don't talk about colors and stuff.
No.
It's more about the yarn.
The yarn development.
Yeah.
And I think the key word for the last 2 visits at Pitifilati, I would say the key word is sustainability. Companies seem to be taking more and more responsibility and working out new ways to develop yarns in a more sustainable way that don't leave too big a print in our world.
So that's like instead of washing the wool, they use electricity.
Yeah, that's one of
but
the
that's
big
what's
things.
really like very complicated. So I'm not going to try to explain it.
No, I mean it's for us. You know, we can see the trend. We don't understand the technical process, but we were talking to a couple of suppliers of yarn, very good ones, very high end. They were talking about treating yarns with alternative ways. Instead of washing them, they would be done in electricity. It could be things like chlorine, no chlorine anymore. It can be things like, you know, the leftovers when they manufacture a yarn, there's a lot of leftovers.
The waste.
And the waste, they would then create a new yarn with the waste. Things like that, you
Yeah.
know, always looking. And then, of course, when you're treating the yarns with electricity instead of water, you would use solar panels so that you're actually producing your own electricity that you're then using to treat. These things are very, very interesting. And we really believe in sustainability for the future as a very key word in trends. And we're going to see this more and more throughout the coming years. I think that more and more of the yarn companies that work with crafts will probably also start launching new products. I know that Rowan did a product this year. It was a yarn that was done with waste from other yarns. I think it's denim something. I don't really recall the correct name, but Rowan has done it already. And I think that we'll see more and more of this. Sustainability is key moving forward, in our opinion. And it was a very interesting discussion we had with a couple of suppliers there. And other than that, going shopping for vintage sweaters and then talking to the suppliers, we did something that we haven't done for a very long time.
That was really nice.
We took a private tour and were guided in the Uffizi in Florence, which is one of the most important museums for Renaissance art.
And we've been there one time before, but it's so big, so you hardly see anything.
Well, you know what they say? They say the Uffizi is not really a big museum in terms of aerial, but it is a great museum and it has too many important works of art. Yeah. So in order to see a museum like that, you really need to go and focus on certain chosen works of art. And that takes like 2 or 3 hours because there's so many.
Yeah, but it was very interesting to have a guide because he took us to some of the important pieces and explained them to us. Mm-hmm. So if you're ever in Florence, you should try.
Yeah, don't go and do the Uffizi without a guide. You need a guide. There's tour groups that you can, if you go there, you can take a tour with a group, or you could go on a private guided tour as we did, but it is definitely worth it. And again, this is what we love about our work, On the one day, we're talking to these people about new methods to treat wool and yarns so that they're more sustainable, and that is advanced technology. And then the other day, we are looking at Renaissance art being inspired by Renaissance art for our work.
And tell us, what is the thing you find most annoying by going to the Uffizi?
The queues.
No, that's when I take off my glasses and show you my Italian profile.
Oh yeah, that's very annoying.
Because a lot of the statues have my nose.
Yeah, Arne thinks he's related to all the statues in the Uffizi gallery.
Because I have Italian roots way back.
Yeah.
They have this nose.
Yeah, okay. Look. Yeah, good.
This profile.
Yeah. I'm getting annoyed now. Anyway, we got back from Florence. Now I'm changing the subject. We got back from Florence, and I was completely whacked out by the flu.
I am now.
Like you? Well, no, I was really out of it.
Oh, you couldn't sit up.
I had 3 weeks where I couldn't stand up. It was really, really bad. I really had a bad case of the flu this year. So pretty much the only thing we did in January that was of any substance was the visit to Florence. And as soon as we got back, I was in bed for 3 weeks. And then let's move over to February now. February is a very important time for Rowan because that's when they launched the spring summer magazine. So there's 2 magazines in Rowan every year. And in February, usually you see the launch of the spring one. And this year, Magazine 65 was very important for us because we had a series of cushions in that magazine, cushions that we had designed and we were really looking forward to have launched, and which actually became a huge success. They were available as digital downloads, but they were featured in the magazine. I think we could have a couple of pictures of that up on the screen so that you can see what they look like. And these cushions were inspired by our love for our garden and also Norwegian arts and crafts.
Yeah, like rose paintings and old embroidery pillows from your family and patterns from mittens and stockings.
Yeah.
Stockings? Socks?
Yeah, socks, stockings. So it was a great collection, a huge success, and we are so pleased with the response that we had. So much so that we're going to be doing another series of 8 cushions in 2020.
Yeah, we already made the designs. Yeah. So for those of you who want more cushions in your couch, just keep your eyes peeled.
Keep your eyes peeled.
I'm learning.
We'll get those cushions out for you as soon as possible next year. So that was, a big thing in February. And then the other big thing that we did in February was our trip to Japan. We did a vlog, a travel log, when we were in Japan. It was really cool because for once we were traveling. When we travel to Japan, we travel with our agent. The agent has assistants, so there's a lot of people around. And so we had a lot of help filming this great travel vlog that we did, where we traveled all over the south of Japan, Tokyo and the areas around there. And we went to Osaka, and we went to, did we go to Kyoto as well? I think we went to Kyoto. Anyway, it was a fantastic trip. to Japan. Actually, we traveled in Honshu, the island where Tokyo is, not the south of Japan, not Okinawa or Kyushu, but Honshu. It's a great trip. The reason we went to Japan is because we have been involved in a project since around 2012, I think, or 2013. I can't remember when it started, but it's connected with the tsunami that hit Japan in 2011, the earthquake, and the following tsunami that left the entire area of Tohoku in the north of Honshu. It left it devastated. And we have been very active in a project to revitalize the area.
Yeah, so next year in October, we're going to do a knitting retreat in that area, in Tono.
Yes. And it's been, it's all about revitalizing. Originally, when we started the project, we were donating a lot of free or patterns that we were giving for free for them to knit, because a lot of people at the time, they were left homeless and they were waiting for their new home and they had nothing to do. And, already when you go through something so horrible, they really needed something to do with their hands. So we supplied them with a lot of stuff. We went there on visits in 2014 to give workshops for free to help, get this project going. And now in 2019, most of the people have gained their new homes. The area is kind of rebuilt, but it's still, you still need to, go there, and people need to get there and see what an amazing area it is. And it needs, to be revitalized again. So that's why we're going to go back and do the project next year with workshops. And we're looking forward very much to going back to Japan, a country that we love traveling to so much.
And I think a lot of people are afraid of going there because of the Fukushima.
Yeah. There's a lot of things
but
still.
There's no reason to be afraid.
No.
People should go there. It's a beautiful area.
It's a stunning area, and it's okay now to go. And we will be going. We will be doing workshops there, and we are very much looking forward to it. And we've invited our special friend, Arne Sundbø, who we have spoken with about a lot on our channel. She's the biggest authority on knitting as a cultural phenomenon. She's very good in cultural history. And we've invited Arne to join us in Japan. And we can't wait to show her around in the beautiful area of Tono. And we can't wait for her to enlighten all of us with the skills that she has in terms of cultural history, the history of knitting, and all of that.
And
it's going to be amazing.
So we're looking forward to going to Japan.
Yeah. So that's what happened in February, pretty much. Then we went from Japan straight to the Norwegian Coastal Express.
Yeah, and that was our second
trip.
Second trip with the coastal boat. And did we see did we see the Aurora?
We saw the Aurora briefly.
We saw it briefly on that trip.
Nature you can't control. The first time we went in September 2018, we advertised the trip as knitting along the most beautiful coastline in the world. And we had a very nice aurora on our last evening that lasted about 15-20 minutes. This time, in March, we went to, we called the cruise Knitting Under the Aurora Borealis. And we had a tiny little aurora on 2 days before the trip was finished. We had like a teeny weeny little aurora that lasted about 5 minutes. And it was, you could barely see it between the clouds. It was a very cloudy March.
But it's still a beautiful trip. And people are so excited because there are yarn shops in every harbor. Yeah. At least one. Maybe two.
And for some reason, the March group, we became very a close-knit group in March, because I think it's because it's still winter and people, they cozy up in the panorama lounge. The panorama lounge on the boat has floor-to-ceiling windows, and you can see everything. You can see the most stunning scenery, both ways, because the windows are so bright and big, and people were cozy there. Or they had a hygge time there together for the 6 or 7 days. So we grew very close to each other. It was a great group.
It was a nice group.
And we really enjoyed their company. And of course, winter is, in my opinion, summer is great and fall is great, but there's something magical about cruising along the coastline in winter. And what people don't understand is that we don't live in the North Pole. And the Gulf Stream, it hits the entire coast of Norway. so it makes it very mild. The temperature in coastal Norway is very mild. There's hardly any snow. Even after crossing the Arctic Circle, there's still not much snow. And the temperatures are mild, probably, like pretty much like Vancouver would be. Maybe slightly cooler than Vancouver in Canada. But it's really very mild, so it's not like going to the North Pole.
So there's no polar bears in the streets?
No
then
polar bears in the
Then you have to go to
streets.
Svalbard.
Yeah, which we actually plan as a cruise. So anyway, the very highly popular cruises, and we are doing a new cruise again on the Hurtigruten, the Norwegian Coastal Express, in March 2020. We're very much looking forward to it. This time Arne and I are going northbound and then southbound on the same boat. We can't wait to do that because we've never gone southbound before. So it's going to be a first for us. And you see different things because of the time of the day. Like in March, it will go northbound, and then wherever it stops during the daytime northbound, it will stop at night southbound. So we'll be able to see different things. So we're very much looking forward to it. That trip is sold out. Unfortunately, it sells out very quickly. But there's always 2021. We are more than likely going to do it in 2021. And at some point, we will be releasing some information about this. And then other than the trip on Hurtigruten, we also went to Cologne to do a very different trade show, the H&H.
Yeah.
Now, if the trade show in Pitifilati, that is for the yarn manufacturers and the yarn brands, so that's where Rowan will go and Regia will go to look at, or Schahenmeyer, to look at yarn developments, right?
And they also show there, in Pitti.
Yeah, but H&H, it's for the shops. So all the yarn shops, all the retailers will go to the H&H to see what's new, what are the new things that the yarn companies like Rowan and Schahenmeyer and Regia are doing.
And the big thing in that show for us was to show off the new fabric collection we made with Metz.
It wasn't officially launched at the time, but that's what we showed there for the retailers.
That was really nice.
And also the Schahenmeyer collection that we did, and the Rowan collection and the new sock yarns. We'll talk about this a little bit later, because at the H&H, they're only launched to the retailers. They're not launched to the general public. The general public usually need to wait another 6 months before the products hit the store, because March is the time when the stores go to purchase. They place their orders in March, and then the deliveries are in August, and then the product is available from, say, September, October. It was a great show to go to. It is, for us, a very important show, because not only do we get to meet everybody that works at Regia and Rowan and Schahenmeyer, but it's also a great opportunity for Arne and I to meet all the customers, the yarn shops that go there. So if you're a yarn shop and you're going to H&H in March 2020, remember, we'll be there, and we can't wait to meet you and have a picture taken with you. And
we're probably sitting in a sofa knitting somewhere.
Yeah, because that's what we usually do. So that was March. April we took off because we had a very hectic time. January, February, March were quite hectic, so we decided to take some time off in April. The weather was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very warm Easter.
Yes.
I think we had like 30 plus.
Yes.
That is warm.
It is. It was really warm and beautiful. We went up into the high mountains with Freya.
Yeah. So that was a nice thing to do.
And I think I took the most favorite photograph I've ever taken of you and Freya. I was taking a picture of Arne. Freya was on the loose. She was around us. She was going on the loose. And I took a photograph of Arne, and suddenly Freya peeks in from behind, because he was sitting down, and then there was a little bit of an edge to a little kind of on the mountain, and then suddenly Freya is sitting there and photobombing. I've never seen Freya photobomb a picture before.
She was so happy. She was like loose.
Yeah, and her ears were flappy in the wind. It was such a cute picture, and I keep showing it to everybody. So I want to share it with you guys as well. It's such a great photograph, and it's my favorite one too. I'm going to get this printed and framed. I'm going to put it up on my desk.
Oh, I will be framed.
You will be framed, and you will be together with Freya on my desk forever. April was a time for us to relax and spend at home in peace and quiet. And then May, Arne, we were out traveling again.
In May, we were in England, I guess, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. Two times.
No, only once.
2.
No,
Oh,
once.
one.
But we did 2 things at once. We went to...
Oh, that's why I mix up. Because first we went to Rowan,
Yeah.
to their offices in Huddersfield.
Yeah, we went to the mill in Huddersfield, yes.
Yeah, and had meetings with Rowan. That was very nice. And then we met our friends from America, and we did a road trip or a garden tour.
Yeah.
And we also went to the Chelsea Flower Show.
Yes,
But-
lots to do.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
So it was
thing to
a part business, but a greater part pleasure. It was a fantastic trip. We always enjoy going to visit Rowan and have meetings with the creative team. So Lisa Richardson was there, David McLeod was there, Sharon Brandt was there, and we had a great time. Inspiring each other, you know, that's what you do in meetings like that. You inspire each other and come up with things that you want to do and talk about. And suddenly, you know, from one thing to another, you have a great idea that you can realize.
Yeah.
So that was a great thing to do. We really enjoy Rowan meetings. And then after that, we went to the south of England,
Yeah.
to Kent, and met up with some friends that were going to go to Chelsea Flower Show.
So we went to
So we, you know, suggested, why don't we do a little road trip?
Yeah.
And then we went to visit some of our favorite gardens in England, which are
the Sissinghurst Castle Garden, and we went to Hidcote, to Snopes Hill, to the Bloomsbury Group,
Charleston
House.
Yeah. So we went to
So that was-
several of our favorite gardens.
And we have a lot of gardens we like
Yeah.
in England.
So
But
this time we didn't go to any new gardens because our friends hadn't been to the British countryside. So we thought it was a good idea to just take them to some of our favorites. And then we ended up in Chelsea Flower Show. London was hot.
it was so warm.
It was hot at the time. So it was unbearable. We stayed at Chelsea Flower Show for a couple of hours, maybe 1, 2, no, more, 3 hours.
Yeah, and then we had to
And then
leave.
we had it.
It was too warm.
So we don't go to Chelsea Flower Show that often because we find that it's more beautiful to visit the countryside. But we love London, obviously. So
And then we went to another house that we really like.
in London, yeah.
In London, yeah, in London, to Dennis Sever's house.
Yeah, that was
Which
a
is
pretty incredible place. Dennis
cool.
Sever's house.
Sever.
If you go to London, you got to go there. It was an eccentric, I believe, American.
He was American and he moved to London. He's dead now, but I don't remember when he
Yeah.
moved
Well,
there.
it
But
wasn't-
he was very eccentric, and he had this house where he had like a fake family.
Yeah.
Living in
it's
the
all
house.
decorated in the way the family would have lived in the 18th, 19th centuries. This is not very old, huh? I mean, he was living there, I don't remember,
In the
but 70s,
70s,
I think,
80s maybe?
80s.
I don't- yeah.
But he created this kind of wacky house where there's a family living, and then you get to go on tour there. You're not allowed to talk.
No,
you're
you have
not
to be
allowed
quiet because you have to listen to the sound of the family. who
and the
live there.
smells of the food being cooked. Anyway, look it up, Dennis Sever's house.
It's really cool.
And if you ever go to London, go there. It's fun.
Yeah, we like it.
We like
Some people think it's like strange, but we like strange things.
Yeah. But going to England is always fun. We love England. And visiting all these beautiful gardens is always inspirational for us. It gives us inspiration for our garden and also for our work. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about the garden later on, as we also had a trip in August. But before we go there, let's go back to the Coastal Express, Hurtigruten, because we had another trip. The day of embarkation was in the end of May, and then 5 days in June. We were, end of May and June, early June, we went on the Midnight Sun cruise.
Oh yeah, we had-
On Hurtigruten, on the Norwegian Coastal Express. Another group. This time we also invited my parents because my mom turned 80 years this year. Happy birthday, Mom.
That was in June.
That was in end of May and in early
Beginning
June.
of June, yeah.
Amazing trip, another fabulous group. A little bit more spread out because, of course, summertime, people will spend more time outdoors.
Yeah.
Didn't see very much of the midnight sun per
It
se.
was cloudy.
Because it was pretty cloudy.
But it
the whole
wasn't
week.
dark.
But it doesn't get dark. So, I mean, midnight sun technically was there. It was just behind the clouds. And whenever, whatever the time of the day is, if it's 3 in the morning or midnight, it doesn't get dark. So you see a lot. It was a fantastic trip.
It was a really nice trip.
Another great trip. Next year we will only be doing the Northern Lights in March. That's the most popular. But we're also doing a round trip up and down the coast, starting in Bergen and then cruising up to Kirkenes and then down to Bergen again. It's the round trip. It's 11 days. And we're doing a 13-day trip because there's 2 nights included in Bergen. I think there's still some availability left. If you wanna check this out, go to arnecarlos.com and select journeys from the menu, and you can see some information about this trip. Departure date is 11 of September 2020.
Yeah.
And fall is a fabulous time of the year. If we're really lucky, the weather will be amazing and we'll be able to sit outside in our shirts. And in any case, there's going to be loads and loads of beautiful colors because of fall. So we highly recommend it, and it's the round trip. We plan some pretty cool knitting activities on board.
We have
and we have 11 days to get to know you. I mean, come on, what are you waiting for? You need to take this trip, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So other than that, then we went home, right? So end of May and beginning of June, we were on the Coastal Express. Then we said goodbye to our group, including my parents. And we flew back to Oslo, drove home, and then I guess we just spent pretty much the rest of the summer.
We tried to spend the summer
in
in the garden because that's the best time to be in the garden.
And one of the newest additions in terms of buildings, Arne, that we did.
That's the insect hotel.
The big one.
We made a big one, but it's not finished yet, but we have started to make a big one. And I guess we have to make a lot of insect hotels because we travel so much.
Yeah.
So we have to make up for
So fingers
all the
crossed.
traveling.
We absolutely have to make up for that. Anyway, fingers crossed that we have little bees there anyway. A garden is so much more than a flower and a tree. A garden is an entire ecosystem of life that we need in order to survive. That is just the way it is. And throughout the years we have done, we did a couple of years ago, we did a video on these sculptures that we made with these tiles that we have.
Yeah, and after making those, we got a lot of insects in the garden. So I think they also live there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, loads of insects hotels, and we have a lot of life.
And this year we had one good friend, and we had 2 of them.
Oh, Hugo?
We have one poisonous snake in Norway, and we had 2 of them in the garden.
Yeah.
And what it's called in Norwegian is called huggorm. And I became so close to the first one that I named him Hugo.
Yeah, huggorm in Norwegian is the name of the adder. It's an adder that strikes.
He was so mad at me.
Strike.
He was hiding under a plastic on the top
Only
of
the
some.
first day.
The first 2 days maybe, and then he got used to me, so he wasn't trying to bite me anymore. He was just making like this.
Hissing sounds, yeah.
And he tried to hide, but then after 2 weeks, I managed to get him into a bucket, put the lid on it. I took him in my Beetle and I drove into the woods.
Yeah, I remember that because I was speaking. No, that was the second one. But anyway, a lot of people
Both
panic.
of them. No, that was the second one. I took longer. Yeah, I took a long trip with the second one.
What I was going to say was a lot of people panic because they are poisonous. But you know what? They have a part to play as well in nature. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
We haven't seen mice in the garden this summer.
Exactly. And it's important not to kill them. And by the way, in Norway, it's a protected species. So if you can remove them, just remove them. I mean, they're not that big. So you can, easily take them with a stick. Or you do it.
I do. I felt I had really good contact with Hugo.
Yeah. Or you call someone.
I kind of missed him when he left. Or
it was funny though because
I deported him.
Yeah. But for the second snake,
he was angry. He was more angry.
So I was actually on the phone with Sharon from Rowan, and Sharon asked me, it was in the beginning of the conversation, it went something like this: "Oh, hi Carlos, how are you? Everything okay? Yeah, great. And Arne, are you there?" And I said, no, Arne's not here. He is driving a poisonous snake far away from our house. So he's got her in a bucket in a car. And she said, wow, she started laughing, and she said, wow, what a great story for YouTube. And then I forgot about it, and now that you mentioned the snakes, it's a funny story for YouTube. Luckily, they're not very poisonous. We're not in Australia, after all. We're in Norway. An adult like Arne and me, in good health, would probably not even, you would feel the pain, but it wouldn't do anything
if
harmful
you're
to
allergic, you could have a problem.
If you're allergic, if you're an older person, or if you're a child,
and you don't know if you're allergic.
No, you don't know that. That's true. But anyway, they're quite small, and Arne has a big stick that he uses to lift them into a bucket. it's safe, I hope. And you wore gloves as well, and boots.
Not gloves, but boots.
Well, next time you need to wear rubber gloves,
I'm the snake whisperer.
Yeah. And then another trip to Florence, but
That can be a movie. Isn't there like the horse whisperer?
Yeah.
I can do it with snakes.
Well, anyway, I think...
I'm like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Probably by now, Hugo is falling asleep somewhere in his new home, and
maybe you come back.
We hope we don't see you again next year, Hugo. Stay away from our garden.
That was June.
Yeah, and then we did the other
July.
trip to Florence. We talked about it already, the first one. We don't have to dwell too much on that, other than the fact that we chose the hottest day.
It was so warm.
Yeah, it was about 42 degrees Celsius, which I think is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or 103 or 105 or something.
And that's when you really want to go around and look at new yarns.
Yeah, exactly. Winter yarns.
Winter yarns.
Yeah. So that was a pretty hard trip. It was very harsh.
Very warm.
Yeah, and probably because of that trip, I mean, we talked a lot with the suppliers. We know a lot of where the developments are going, so I think that we probably will not go to Pittifilati next year, as we don't have to do it every single year.
Well, you never know. They have a good flea market, as we said. Or not flea market, but vintage.
Yes, a vintage market. Okay. So maybe you might want to go.
And
then, of course, back home. We went back home. We went on a private trip with our friends to the USA, which was very nice. And then after we came back from that trip, we spent all of July at home. And I found out that there's a lot of people like me in the world. They're called pajamas gardeners.
Oh, yeah.
I like gardening in my pajamas. I get up early in the mornings because the days are so long in the summer.
So you can spend the whole day in the garden in the pajamas.
Well, usually I spend my mornings in my pajamas and my Swedish clogs. And I think we posted a photograph on Instagram that of me having breakfast in my pajamas that generated a lot of likes.
Yeah. So that was the summer. That's the summer in Norway.
Yeah, I'm a pajamas
Sit
gardener.
in the garden.
Are you a pajamas gardener?
Sometimes.
Are you a pajamas gardener? Let us know if you've ever heard of that phenomenon, because apparently we are many, as somebody actually told me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was July, and then August back to work, launching fabrics during the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham, which was an amazing festival.
That was a new experience because you've never been to those quilting shows before. And it was very interesting because they had like quilts on exhibition, like a quilt exhibition. Mm-hmm. And some of those pieces are artwork.
Art, yeah.
It was really inspiring to walk around and look and see what people had done. So that was like when we launched the fabric collection. Launched the fabric collection.
Yeah. How's your voice, by the way? How's your throat?
It's working.
It's working? Yeah, I feel like I need to talk more
so
that we don't waste his... Yeah, you see?
You shouldn't mention it, but then,
okay,
because then I remember it and I start coughing.
Yeah, but Birmingham was great. What was your favorite part about the Festival of Quilts or the launch of the fabrics? What did you... Because it was such a new experience for us, wasn't it?
The exhibition.
The quilts exhibition?
The quilts. Yeah. It was inspiring to see what people actually make.
And that was your favorite part?
Yeah.
Most definitely, yes.
I think that was the favorite part.
A big yes. They were actually divided in two. There were some quilts that would probably go more in the arts and crafts box. And then there were some that were real art. I mean, true art. And it was nice to see both of these juxtaposed, put in front of each other or next to each other. Pretty amazing. It was a beautiful festival, and one that we can highly recommend. If you are into quilting or sewing, you definitely need to get to the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham. It was way more than what we could have possibly imagined. Yeah. Quite amazing.
It was really good.
And then we went on another garden trip.
Yeah, then we went back. I think we went home and then back to England again.
But with a group this time. We did a garden tour.
Our first garden tour with a group.
Which was amazing.
That was really nice. And
Highlight?
Highgrove.
Highlight? Highgrove.
Highgrove garden.
Highgrove, the private residence of Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, and his amazing 13-acre garden. 2-hour guided tour. where we did not see a soul. I mean, we were 2 hours, and the garden is so big, and they take the tours in such a way that you don't meet other groups when you.
It was really good, and it's not allowed to take pictures. And that was actually very good, because instead of looking at your phone all the time
You
and
actually
like
looked at the plants.
fixing your pictures, you look at the garden.
Amazing.
It was really good. There should be it shouldn't be allowed to take pictures in any garden.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we might actually do that. You know, we're going to be going on a new garden tour in 2020. We have a lovely group. Hopefully they're lovely. Fingers crossed. A lovely group of 23 people coming along with us. And we're going to say that. No photos.
No,
just enjoy.
we can't do that. We can say.
We can suggest it.
Yeah, we can't say
so that people really enjoy the beauty of these gardens. And you know what? In Prince Charles, it was going to visit Highgrove really changed my opinion of him. He is absolutely...
So Prince Charles, if you watch this, we think you're a good guy.
I don't think he will watch this.
And a good gardener.
He's a great gardener for sure. He's a great guy too.
You never know.
I felt connected.
Maybe he Google gardening
you never know.
or knitting.
But what I have to say is I felt connected to him because, you know, he has been pioneering and championing the principle of organic gardening and sustainability for such a long time. You know, when in the 80s and 90s, people were laughing at him. But look at his ideas today. They were revolutionary 30 years ago, but today it is the way things are. It is the way we're going, which proves that he was very much ahead of his time. He's also very whimsical when he creates gardens. And my favorite part was seeing the weed. You know, because in order to obliterate the weed in any garden, you need pesticides, or you need to, you know, I mean, you cannot have an organic garden and not have any weed. And when I saw that, I felt so much like relieved, because it means that our garden is the same. It doesn't have much weed. Oh, sorry, it has much weed because we don't take it out, because a lot of it actually we like too. So
and if we don't like it, we boil water.
Try to take it out that way. But most of it is allowed.
Most of it is
like the wild poppies that we have, and the moss that grows between the bricks in our paths. And there's some weeds that we don't take away because we think they are charming. So I think we're going to start calling our garden charming and whimsical, instead of saying, oh, I need to go and weed again.
Yeah, so if people come to our garden and they try to pick weeds, sometimes people do.
Well, it happened once and I was not happy.
And then we can say, this is organic and whimsical, so...
This is organic and whimsical.
Please stop picking weed.
And then we're going to say, if it's good enough for the Prince of Wales, it's good enough for us. Because that's the way it is.
But why do people pick weed in other people's garden?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, I would never do that. That's very disrespectful. Huh? You know, go into somebody's garden and tell them how to do gardening. No. That's not the way to do it.
You can do like a tips. That's fine.
No, I think people. No, I think people should do whatever they want.
Don't touch our.
You know, I mean, yeah.
Wildflowers.
Don't touch our flowers. That's for sure. So anyway, yeah, that's what we did, and then we launched Rowan. The fabric collection was launched, and then Rowan men's collection, which has been going very, very well. And the most popular of the sweaters in that collection has proven to be Vegard. I think we're going to be getting a picture of the sweater so that everybody can see which one it is. And Vegard is the one that is layered colorwork. We did a tutorial on layered colorwork as well, and people are loving it. They are loving it. We had the sweater with us on our tour, 78 days in the US and Canada, and everybody loved Vegard a lot. So I think that we're going to be seeing lots and lots of Vegards soon on Instagram and Facebook. So,
and we met a lot of women who said they're also making it for themselves, even if it's a men's collection, because it's a basic men collection, so it can be anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
The silhouette is very... It can be your boyfriend's wear that you're using.
And then also in August and September, I don't remember exactly when, but the Schahenmayer Knit and Mix collection was launched. And that's the collection where you knit with different yarns in the same garments. Very, very challenging collection for us to do. We did a video on it. It was fun to do. Not sure how it's gone. We haven't really spoken much with Schahenmeyer since we've been away, but hopefully it's been doing okay. So, but we were delighted. Then we went to Färnö, to the knitting festival in Färnö with Crystal Seifert.
That was really nice.
It was a great festival. We were too busy. We didn't take any photographs, unbelievably.
But finally we met to meet her.
Yes, we'd known her for a long time, but
we had never met her.
We've never met her.
We knew about her.
Yes.
And she was on Knit Stars with us also.
And she was delightful.
Yeah,
she's
a really nice person. So if you want to go to a knitting festival
in Scandinavia,
there is only one. It's Färnö.
Färnö Strikkefestival. So the knitting festival in Färnö.
Färnö.
Yeah, I'm trying to say it in Danish.
It doesn't sound Danish.
Färnö.
Färnö.
Färnö. Yeah, it's Danish. Färnö in Norwegian. Yeah. Anyway, it was the last trip we did in Europe before we packed all our bags and went on tour to the USA. We left on September...
And North America.
Sorry,
Canada and USA.
North America, yeah, USA. But we went to the USA first. That's why I said USA. So we packed our bags, all of them, loads and loads and loads of luggage. I think you've seen pictures of all our luggage, incredible amounts. But people still said, oh, and that's it? I thought 5 suitcases or 6 or whatever we had was more than enough.
We had 5 and we had 6 when we came home because I have black belt in shopping. I always find things to bring home. So.
And we'll tell you in a little bit what Arne bought. You can start speculating in the comments fields now. What do you think Arne bought that made us buy a new suitcase? We'll tell you when we get to November, okay? Anyway, packed our bags, flew to New York, flew from New York to Colorado, to Denver, and then to Vail, Eagle Airport. Did our first retreat in Vail. And then from Vail, we went on to Longmont. So we spent the first leg of our tour in Denver. In Colorado. We did not go to Denver except the airport. It was a great time, nice and sunny.
Yeah. And in Longmont, we stayed in the bed and 1 breakfast.
Yes, that's true. A bed and 1 breakfast.
Bed
we stayed
and
there
1
for 3
breakfast,
nights.
so you have to choose which day you want the breakfast.
And then the other days
I think that was cool. That was so cool.
Very lovely, eccentric couple running this pretty cool place. Our hostess was Elaine, and I loved Elaine. And very social couple too, so we really enjoyed our stay at this bed and breakfast, or bed and 1 breakfast as Arne calls it.
She said it's bed and 1 breakfast.
Yeah. It was a fun trip. I mean,
it's a famous breakfast.
That was great. Yeah. We also went to the Estes National Park, and we saw the horny elk
making the
sounds, trying to attract the women or the female elk. It was.
Is this sexy? No,
it was more like. It was a really.
I don't remember.
Sound.
Yeah, we don't film.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an insane sound that they did.
We've been there.
Been there, done that. We loved it. It was a beautiful park. Yeah. Quite stunning nature. Very different from anything we have in Norway. The Rockies, the Rocky Mountains. Very, very beautiful. Then we flew to Canada. And so there is the Canadian part of our tour. We went to Canada for the first time together. I was in Toronto when I was 6 years old. But we never toured Canada before, and Arne had never been. And we went to Vancouver, which we loved, and Knit City, which was the first event that we did in Canada. What did you think of Knit City?
I don't know, because we didn't see more than the entrance to the halls where they still had yarn, because then we were stopped by people. That's true, yeah. So
but I love the park. The Knit City is different pavilions in a park. You get to go in and out of different pavilions. I thought that was great. There were food trucks where you could get your lunch. I thought that was also really, really great. And I found that the people there were quite fantastic. It was a great event. It's a large event, but very cozy at the same time.
It was. I liked it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
But again, like a lot of times when we travel, we don't see much. So we didn't see the show.
No, what happened was we went to Knit City, Vancouver, Knit City. We did a couple of things. We went to Stanley Park and had a quick look at Stanley Park, and we went to downtown. and then we left. But then we actually went back. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Was
we
in
came back.
October. So
Yeah.
beginning of October, we went to Knit City, left, went back to no, actually we went to Armstrong. We went from Vancouver.
And then we went to Armstrong.
Yeah, so we were driven from Vancouver to Armstrong in the Okanagan Valley.
That was really nice.
I actually didn't know that Canada made excellent Riesling wines. We learned a lot about winemaking in the Okanagan Valley. It was great. We did workshops there, and then we drove to Seattle. Crossing the border into Seattle. Now that's a story that we're not going to tell you, except it was pretty intense. It took an hour, and none of the equipment worked, so they couldn't take our photo, they couldn't do our fingerprints. It was crazy.
We actually had to tell them to put on the computer.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you should put it on.
It'll be a story for another time. Anyway, it was insane crossing the border.
6 computers.
Yeah, and nothing worked at the border.
Okay.
Anyway. We crossed into America again, went to Seattle, did the Nordic Heritage Museum, and then we went to California, another place where I have been, but you haven't been. My sister got married in California in the 90s, and also I spent a summer there in the 80s when my dad was working in San Francisco, actually outside of San Francisco in a place called Alameda. That's where I spent a summer. But now we were in San Francisco, went to see the Golden Gate Bridge, which I thought, Arne
LA
had to see.
You said we went to LA?
Wait, hang on.
No, we went to San Francisco first.
Yes. Okay.
And first we went to San Francisco, and then we did a knitting thing.
Yeah, what happened to you, Arne? Suddenly you're the one that
I don't
knows
know.
the order.
Something happened with the cold, maybe.
Yeah.
It
Okay, so
cleared up my brain or something.
So let's start again. San Francisco. We went from Seattle to San Francisco.
And we drove that street.
Saw the Golden Gate, drove the hilly street like that. Then we went to Los Altos in Silicon Valley and did wonderful workshops with...
on a farm.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That was really nice. And I thought like Silicon Valley was like...
High tech.
High tech? This was like countryside.
Yeah, we were
really
on a
nice.
farm. On a farm in the middle of Silicon Valley. They had chicken, they had pigs, they had goats, they had everything there.
Yeah, that was a really nice place to have a workshop.
Yeah. Then we went to LA for a knitting retreat, and the contrast couldn't have been more different. We went from that bucolic setting, a farm, over to LA where, everything is very LA.
Warm and
so our retreat was
naked.
Yeah, well, not us. But
no, not us, but...
And our retreat was in Redondo Beach, and so somebody told us that we only had one day in LA, just one day, and somebody told us the best way to see LA is rent a car, because you cannot get around LA if you don't have wheels. So we decided that we were going to rent a car, and then somebody at one of our workshops in Seattle said, hey, why don't you rent a convertible? I mean, you are in LA after all. So we did.
We did the LA thing.
A Ford Mustang convertible. And
that was
so much
cool.
fun.
And then we were on the highway, and I didn't figure out how to open the window because it's
the opposite.
Quite windy.
Yeah, so we get the car, we put the roof down, and we get the windows down, and we're driving. It's not very fast because we're still, in LA, right? But once we get into the highway, the whatever it's called, we get into the highway, and the wind is just like this because we're driving at very fast. And I managed to close my window.
I couldn't.
But Arne couldn't close his, and it made it even worse because then the wind would come in and then it would bounce back out.
It was a new car. I never drove something like this before, and it's like automatic, which I hate. That's also very disturbing because I like to have the stick.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of the engine.
And here's the thing, the moment we park the car at the Getty, that's the moment Arne figures out how to get the window up.
We went to the Getty, the museum.
Yeah, and if you think we always have a good hair day, you did not meet us at the Getty Museum. You should have seen our hair. It was a disaster from beginning to end.
Well, mine is normally a disaster.
No.
It was like...
Yeah, but mine, I had it all... But it was great, and then we had a great knitting retreat in Redondo Beach. Met a lot of fantastic knitters. You know what, Arne? This tour, I have to say, a big shout out to all the knitters that we've met in North America, and the skill levels have been quite impressive, I have to say.
I think everybody is a good knitter. You haven't met anyone that really struggle, and if they struggle they learn very quick. But
it's very impressive.
I don't know, sometimes it's like, what are we actually teaching these people?
Yeah.
Because most people know everything.
So I guess they're just coming to spend a lovely time with us, knit on a project. It was a great retreat in LA, but you know, we also went to Taos afterwards and had a fabulous retreat.
That's one of my new favorite places now.
Yeah, Vogue Knitting organized a retreat for us in Taos. It was fantastic.
So New Mexico is on my top list of places.
Favorite places. Yeah,
I really love New Mexico, Santa Fe,
Taos and Santa Fe were
That's
great.
where we were, and really beautiful.
Absolutely.
We stayed in this. Like it's new, but it looks like the old houses.
El Monte Sagrado, the resort.
What's this houses called again?
The adobe houses.
Adobe houses. And one morning we had snow. I think that was so beautiful.
It was magical.
It was magic.
And then we went to visit Taos Pueblo with our group. Vogue organized the excursion to Taos Pueblo. And it's beautiful. You know, there's a photo of Arne and me, and behind us you can see the outline of all the adobe houses. The brown house is very beautiful.
I like that because that's maybe the first time we've been to any place in the USA where we actually can see something really old.
Yes.
Because this is very old.
UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then going to Santa Fe as well, and spending a few days of holiday there before we went back to Vancouver. And then going back to Vancouver, finally we had time to see Vancouver a little bit better.
We went to Victoria Island, which was really nice.
Vancouver Island.
No, Vancouver Island and Victoria.
Yeah, and Anina was a great hostess. She lives in Vancouver Island. She took us all over Vancouver Island, and then she took us to some great places in Vancouver proper itself. We stayed in Granville Island at a hotel there. It was amazing. And our last evening, we were sitting in a terrace of a restaurant, eating seafood, literally under a bridge.
Yeah, that was really nice.
On Granville Island. It was fantastic.
Actually, we had a lot of nice people, like the hostess. They were all very nice. So if you're not mentioned, you're nice.
Well, we want to, I think we should shout out to all of them. I want to give a shout out to Gail at Longmont Yarn Shop, Stephanie, Uncommon Threads, Karen in L'Atelier. So that is Longmont, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Then Vogue was fantastic. We've got Urban Yarns in Vancouver with Anina and Lindsay. Then we went over to Edmonton to Cynthia and Barb. They are sisters. They have their own YouTube channel, by the way. River City Yarns is their yarn store. Big shout out to them. Wonderful organization in Edmonton as well. And then from Edmonton, we flew over to the East Coast. And now we are in November.
And now you lost me.
Okay, so we flew. So
where
from
are
Edmonton
we
in
now?
Canada. So we went from Vancouver in Canada to Edmonton, and that became the beginning of November.
Yeah.
We did 3 days in Edmonton, and then we flew from Edmonton to Calgary, cleared immigrations in Calgary, and then flew all the way back to the USA to Newark, and we drove up to do another retreat at Mohonk.
Yeah, that was nice.
Mohonk
cool.
Mountain House.
That was like a Harry Potter place.
That is the most amazing place I've ever visited in North America. I mean, it's so unexpected. It's a Victorian castle on top of a mountain next to a lake with an incredible view of the Catskills. And if the day is clear, you can see so many other states. And the food, oh my God, the food at Mohonk was probably the best food we had during our whole trip.
So if you ever have a chance, go to Mohonk.
Yeah, if you have a chance to go somewhere upstate New York for a little break, go to Mohonk. It is spectacular, amazing. We loved it. It was organized by Nancy from Yarn Tapestry in New Jersey. She was the organizer of the event. It was really cool. So maybe she'll do it again next year. I think she did it 2 years previous as well. So more than likely, there's going to be a retreat in Mohonk again in next year. So get in touch with Nancy at Knit Tapestry if you're interested.
And then we went south.
Yep. We went to Baltimore.
We took the train from
Yeah, we got to Baltimore, and then we were picked up, and then we went to Rockville in Maryland.
That was nice.
Yeah, hanging out with wool winders, who have a great store there. Another fabulous couple that hosted us.
And we had the knitting classes were in a place for old people or elderly people. It's like a cruise ship.
Yeah, it was like living on a cruise ship.
It was like a very luxurious place to stay when you're old.
I kind of figured, you know what, I could probably live there if when I get to that age. It's a good place to live. Everything, catered for you. You have restaurants and it's like living on a cruise ship when you're retired. But anyway, Rockville was fantastic with Janet and Mark. Then we went over to Kathy down at the Untangled Pearls. Untangled Pearls. That was Kathy. In Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Fredericksburg.
Yeah. And by the way, I forgot to mention the Okanagan store. That was the Twisted Pearl with Kathleen. It was really great.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Fredericksburg, Virginia. Then we went to Boston.
And Fredericksburg was really nice because they had like good antique shops.
Yeah, Fredericksburg is
I'm going back there. I'm going to we're going on a road trip.
Yeah. It was an interesting place, also from a historical point of view. So our workshops in Fredericksburg were quite interesting because we were teaching, but we were also learning. Yeah. So we learned a lot about American history, especially Civil War, while we were there. It was very nice. And because we were working on Thanksgiving in Canada, our lovely hosts, Kathy and Peg, they made sure that we had a home-cooked Thanksgiving meal before we went to Boston. So we had the whole shebang. The turkey, the yams, the sweet potatoes with marshmallow, the ham, whatever, the Brussels sprouts, everything that you eat for Thanksgiving, we also had a week before Thanksgiving in...
So we know what Thanksgiving is now.
We learned.
Food-wise.
Food-wise, yeah.
And then we went to Boston.
We flew to Boston to our favorite knitting guild.
Boston Knitting Guild.
The Greater Boston Knitting Guild, where we did a few lectures. A lecture and a workshop. And then, my friend, we went to... Because Arne loves seafood so much, we made sure to stop by Freeport, Maine, to visit our lovely friends there, Grace and David Robinson of Grace Robinson. And they treated us to...
Lobster roll.
Well, we had loads. Well, we had after 3 days in Maine, I think we could, comfortably say that we had lobster coming out of our ears. We ate so much lobster, you wouldn't believe it. The highlight was the one where we get the bibs.
Yeah.
And we ate 2 pounds of lobster each.
I'm sorry.
In Freeport, it was pretty spectacular. There's a picture of that, I think, that we can show.
Yeah. That's also a very nice place. The second time we've been there.
Second time we've been there. First time that we've been with Grace and David, though. Yeah. Lovely little setup at the Harasikit Inn. That's where we did our retreat with David and Grace. And we had a lot of lobster and met a lot of lovely people.
And then we went to...
Ottawa.
Ottawa. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, we flew to Ottawa in Canada, the capital of Canada. But we didn't spend our time in Ottawa itself. We went to Orléans, which in English is Orleans. And had a lovely time at a store called Woolen Things. And the owner, Giselle, is a Franco-Ontarian, so French speaker. And I loved that place. Yeah. It was nice.
Really nice.
It was the one place where we felt very international because our crowd of people at all the workshops were bilingual. Well, not all of them, but many of them were bilingual. Either they worked, some of them actually were English speakers, but worked for the federal government, and so they had just to learn French at some point in order to work for the federal government. A lot of the French people speak, every French person there at our workshop spoke good English, even if they were French Canadian. It was very nice to have a bilingual group. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot about Canadian culture as well while we were there. Very, very interesting, the history of Canada as well, and why there is 2 languages spoken there.
And then we had, then we drove back to...
No. Now you're... So we spent the whole day, we spent the coldest day in our North American tour well, what we thought was the coldest day was the one we spent in Ottawa with Giselle. We were sightseeing.
Oh yeah, that was cold.
Cold and windy.
Yeah.
We got to see the Parliament buildings in Ottawa and some of the museums. It was a great tour of the capital of Canada, which is quite interesting. And then we went to London, not London, United Kingdom, London, Ontario.
Oh, that's nice. We took the airplane, and when we said we were checking into London, and then they said there's no flights tonight.
And we were like,
what?
I think both of us became very pale. What are you talking about?
And we said London, but not the one in England. And they said we don't have any flights to London, and we panicked. And then they misunderstood because they saw our passports, and they were like, why should any Scandinavian go to London in Canada?
Yeah, they were saying something like, oh, sorry, we misunderstood you guys. When you showed us your European passports, we thought you wanted to go to London, not London, Ontario.
It's like no
one goes to London, Ontario. And we said, well, we do. Anyway, luckily we did get on the plane. There was a plane to London, Ontario. And we did our final event in Canada in St. Thomas. And now the most amazing, the most extraordinary thing happened in St. Thomas. It was the day we were going to do the lecture there were going to be more than 200 people. And there was something that we've never experienced in Norway before, but I'm sure a lot of Canadians in Ontario can relate to this one. It's called ice rain, and it's not fun.
But it looks beautiful.
Oh yeah.
But it was strange.
It was the worst.
It before.
It was the worst weather I've experienced in my life.
The trees looked like
they were crystallized.
Crystal. It was.
So basically, it's a phenomenon in that area because of the lakes, and then it rains, and the rain becomes ice. So ice rain, something we've never had in Norway. I don't think we have that in Norway.
And we were not driving back to, where did we go?
Toronto.
Toronto, luckily.
But
that was scary.
But the most extraordinary thing that happened was that despite the ice rain, we had over 200 people at our lecture. They braved the traffic. They came out to see us.
I just need some mints.
Yes.
Sorry.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
It was really amazing to have all these people coming to see us when the weather was so horrible. And we want to thank all of you from the bottom of our hearts. And we want to particularly give a shout out to the Toronto Knitters Guild. The poor Toronto's Knitters Guild had a horrible day. I hope meeting us gave you a little bit of comfort in an otherwise really crappy day. So the Toronto Knitters Guild, they got on a bus. It's funny now, I'm sure you're laughing about it now, but it wasn't funny when it happened, right? They got on the bus at 6 a.m. in the morning. The drive was supposed to take 2.5 hours to St. Thomas. It didn't.
No, it
took like 6 hours.
6 hours or a lot of time.
Yeah, they ended up coming at what time? 11:50. No, 12:15. They got there at 12:15 or something like that. Can't remember the precise time. They got to the lecture. We had to postpone the lecture until they got there. And then they were going to go shopping at the store. A big shout out to Carrie and Jolene from the Little Red Mitten. Lovely store in St. Thomas. You've got to go if you've never been. Anyway, they were going to shop with Carrie and Jolene at the Little Red Mitten. And when they were going to get, back to Toronto, the bus broke down. So they had to wait for a new replacement bus.
In the yarn shop.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we did the lecture, and then we did a workshop on Christmas balls, and we left. And more than likely, we left later. Well, I know that we left earlier than the Toronto Knitters Guild's bus did, but we arrived there in Toronto earlier than them. We're so sorry.
Actually, we passed by the bus. Remember?
Oh yeah,
we
you're
drove.
right.
We passed by.
I don't think it was that bus.
Oh, I thought
think?
that was the bus.
No, I think we left earlier because their bus had broken down.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that the lecture and that your shopping at the Little Red Mitten made up for the awful day you had with all the things that went wrong. In any case, we really enjoyed meeting all of you, and we hope that next time we meet again, when we are back in Ontario, will be under less harsh circumstances than what we had. Right?
Yeah, and then we went to
Montreal.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal.
Montreal.
We went to Montreal,
yeah.
And we flew to Montreal, and then we drove from the city
Yeah,
over or across the border into Vermont.
we rented a car and drove to Burlington in Vermont.
And then we went a little bit further to Warren to spend some time with some good friends of ours. And while we were in the area, we went to Waterbury to a store called Yarn.
That was nice.
It was great. That was Jane.
There was a lot of people who came. for
Loads of
book
people who
signings.
came. And in Yarn, there were a lot of male knitters because
Yeah.
there's apparently a lot of male knitters in Vermont. And they came to see us at Yarn. Great, great store. We really enjoyed the event there. And then finally, the last event that we did was Christmas by the Sea in Camden, Maine.
Yeah,
So
and that's where I became sick.
Yeah. And that's now December, of course.
Yeah.
So we finished up St. Thomas in November, and then December 2nd we went to
Maine.
December 2nd to Vermont.
No, Vermont.
And then Christmas by the Sea was around December 5, I think.
Yeah, and more lobster.
Well, not that much.
Oh, we had lobster.
We had two. Oh yeah, we had 2 lobster rolls.
That's more lobster.
And that concluded our tour. Then we flew back to Norway. We arrived on December 10th, and we have been here ever since.
And then I was fit for snow, digging the snow and skiing. But then I got this cold, so I haven't done anything. So like Carl said, he is doing all the hard work now.
Let's go back a little bit to the workshops that we did throughout the entire North American tour. I have to say, for me, the twine knitting workshop was my absolute favorite one. I love teaching twine knitting to everybody who came. What was your favorite?
I think maybe that one, because that was new to a lot of people.
Yeah, a new technique. It's got its roots in the 17th century in Sweden and Norway. And also there is a technique to wind up 2 balls, which is useful also for color work that we taught. So people really felt it was very gratifying to take that
And we
class.
also did that on YouTube. But people said it's different to meet us in person and do it together with us.
Yeah, it
Even
is.
if they've seen it on YouTube. So that
It's
is
very
nice.
neat. And another thing that we realized, because we did another workshop called Knitting and Purling the Norwegian Way, and we had a revelation, because when we founded this channel, our idea was that Arne was going to take the role of the instructor, and I was going to take the role of the journalist, the person that kind of leads the show forward. Otherwise, we have no structure, and it's all chaos.
Imagine me with structure.
Well, but
That
something
ain't gonna
happened.
happen.
Something happened when we were teaching. What happened?
Yeah, people said that I understood it when Carlos did it, because you are...
Not everybody,
No, but they said because you do it slower
and differently.
and different. You do it the same way, but you have a different approach.
I have a different way of teaching it. I have a different approach. I use a mantra that I teach people. And we realized that the idea of Arne being the tutor and me just being the journalist has been working, because you cannot have, you know what they say about too many chefs cooking at the same time, they will spoil the dinner, right? And that's what we thought. But we are going to be revisiting some of the basic tutorials next year.
And we let Carlos do it.
We're going to call them for example, we're going to call this one the Norwegian Pearl Revisited. And Arne is going to take the role of the journalist, and he's going to lead the tutorial forward while I'm going to be doing instructions. I think.
Yeah, but you will see him, Carlos. You will do it.
So that's something you have to look forward to in 2020. I'm really looking forward to showing my way of teaching this. And I'm sure that, combined between the way Arne teaches and the way I teach, more people will learn easier. Some people will probably like Arne's teaching method better than my teaching method, but I'm sure that a lot of people will enjoy seeing me do it. That's what a lot of people told us throughout our tour. So it is great to actually go out there, meet people, talk to them, get to know what's going on. All of these things are very, very important and part of our work.
And we always get some new ideas of videos we can make. And
Yeah.
that's nice.
So next year we haven't. We've started planning next year already, but we won't be recording anything that will be aired or published until, say, March. So we're not going to give you any, we're not going to give you any spoilers, because I think that spoilers are, well, maybe a little spoiler. We're going to try to get out of the house a little bit, but we don't know yet how we're going to do it. So we might not actually do it. But Anyway.
But people ask us if we can show more of Norway and things like that.
Yeah, we can't promise that.
we'll
But we
see.
have ideas.
See
we
what
have
happens.
ideas, and we're going to try to do it a little bit differently next year. I do feel it is time to get a little bit out of our house and into new places, I think. So let's see if we can manage that. It's going to be very exciting. And one thing that we've been enjoying since we got home, we have a friend in Denmark. Her name is Mette DJ. She's not an actual DJ, but her last name is Dreyer Jørgensen. So the two initials of her double last name are D and J. We call her Mette DJ. And she sent us an advents calendar that we really enjoyed opening.
Yeah.
We've been opening a gift a day. We needed to catch up first, so we had 10
because we came later. But
and next year we have an idea, and I'm just going to say a couple of words. So 10-year anniversary, publication, Christmas balls, advent calendar.
oh, you said everything.
YouTube. That's what I'm going to say. There's going to be an advent calendar next year
It's
related
not
to
a
the Christmas
secret
balls.
anymore.
Well, that's not. I mean, come on. We're going to do that. We're so going to do an advent calendar. Sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah.
We're so going to do an advent calendar next year. I'm really looking forward to recording this. It's going to be fantastic. And now I promised it, so now we have to do it. So, 1 year from now, there's going to be Christmas balls again.
Yeah, and now we're just going to do puzzle
Yeah.
and wait for New Year.
We've been working on our little puzzle that we're doing. This is our last event, so now we're going to get ready for Christmas. People have been asking us where we're going to celebrate it this year, and this year our family is very spread out. They are in so many different places, so we decided that we're going to hang out with a couple of friends for Christmas. We're going to a place called Trysil, which is near the border to Sweden. It's a skiing place, so we'll be skiing this Christmas. We're going to be in a nice chalet, enjoying Christmas with our friends. It's going to be fabulous, I hope, in company of some very nice friends of ours. So we have that to look forward to. Christmas decorating will always take place on December 23rd, except for the Advent candle holder that you see here.
The real thing starts on the 23rd.
Yeah. And we've been laying puzzles now, and we did a fun DIY project that we were inspired by when we were in Vermont, because we kept seeing this very easy Christmas decoration, which is a star. I'm going to get a picture of that too. It's a star, right, that you can make out of wood. It's a 5-pointed star like this, and then you put a light source around it, and you hang it in your house or outside your house. We saw a lot of them everywhere, and we heard the story, which was very sad.
But now we have one.
It was a story about some young kids being killed, and it was put up they were killed in traffic, and it was put up as memory, in memory of them. So we decided to do one as well, and we put it up in our house, and it looks pretty smashing, I have to say. So I'm going to show you what it looks like here. And other than that, I think we've spoken quite a lot now. Mostly me because of your
Because
throat.
I can't do much.
So I'm going to make you something. I don't know if people will agree, but my cure for a cough like that, because it's a very dry cough, I am doing boiled water with honey, lemon, and I'm going to add some ginger today for that. And I'm going to make you a nice cup of that.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll get better and better. And I think that you should be okay within a few days. And as soon as you're good, we're popping on our skis and off we go.
Yeah.
And with this, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But before we do, we have a little gift for you. We have a gift for 4 lucky winners. This is an advent calendar that is being done by our friends over at Prim. You may know Prim with the Ergonomic Needles. We love using them a lot. Here you have a few of them. And Prim are doing an advent calendar. They've done one every advent, so it's only 4 times calendar. And the final little box was opened today over at the Prim website. And in that box, you will find some really cool things. We can show them up. We've got packs of the Ergonomic Needles, and these are new. These are the shorter needles. These are the 15 centimeter ergonomic needles. So they are, as you can see, the smaller one. So there's a pack of the needle in 3 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter. So there's 2 knitting needles. What else do we have, Arne?
We have stitch markers.
So there's a pack of stitch markers for you.
And this I like.
These are fun.
It's a Nadelspielhalter.
Yes, it says point protectors. Point protectors. Protège point here.
A mitten and a hat.
And,
These are cute.
And there's going to be a ball of the Regia design line by ARNE CARLOS in that box as well. So pretty much a kit for all the things you need in order to knit yourself a pair of socks. The box was opened today, and we need to talk a little bit about what you need to do in order to
what do they need to do?
And ladies and gentlemen, the question, what do you need to do in order to be in this competition? All you need to do is to answer the following question. What prim needles are your favorite needles to knit with? So if you've knitted with the prim needles, which ones do you like? Do you like the double points? Do you like the circulars? Which size do you like? Tell us.
It's not a competition. You just say what you like and you can win.
Okay, so it's not a it's a giveaway.
It's a giveaway.
It's a giveaway.
I thought I was like competition.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
I was so close to write something.
Oh, okay. No. So it's not a competition, it's a giveaway. Tell us what are your favorite prim needles to knit with. Put it in the comments field, and 4 lucky winners will receive each one a really cool Advent box from Prim. You will not get it until 2020 though, because we are in the end of December. Well, not really. We're in Advent right now, 4th of Advent, and people are not going to be working at Prim next week because Christmas is so close to us now. So it will be sent out after New Year. But you have something in the New Year to look forward to. Yeah.
Good.
So that's the giveaway.
That's the giveaway.
And now I think we just need to wish everybody
a Merry
Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Oh,
we
we're back.
Forgot to
We just
tell you
forgot.
one thing.
I said I had black belt in shopping, and you said we should talk about it later.
Yeah, we said we were going to talk about what Arne bought that forced us to buy another extra suitcase, and we forgot to tell you about it. So here we go. Arne.
I bought 2 pairs of snowshoes.
2 pairs of antique snowshoes. They are the bear paw snowshoes, so they're kind of round like this.
And they're big, so I needed a new suitcase.
Yeah.
And what more did I get?
Well, that's what made us buy the new suitcase.
Okay, that's what, yeah.
Okay, everybody, it's been a pleasure spending 1.5 hours with you. And again, Arne, we wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye.